Hello, everyone. I am Emma Hamer, a fourth-year Master of Architecture student at the University of Kansas. Through my program, I was lucky enough to go on the Architecture in Southern Europe study abroad trip this past summer. Over the course of 3.5 weeks, we visited 8 cities in Spain and Portugal. We began this journey in Spain, where we flew into Barcelona. We then traveled to Porto and Lisbon in Portugal, and finally, we drove back into Spain, where we went to Sevilla, Cordoba, Granada, Toledo, and Madrid. The focus of this study abroad trip was to immerse ourselves in the religion, history, culture, art, and architecture of the Iberian Peninsula. Each day we didn't just study the architecture of each city, we lived it, engaging directly with the spaces and structures around us. This hands-on experience is something that cannot be replicated in a classroom, making it essential for architecture students to venture out into the world, explore global architecture, and broaden their perspectives. I've always been fascinated by the interaction between historical and modern architecture, especially in urban environments where both styles intertwine. My interest lies in finding solutions that allow cities to develop while preserving the aesthetics of historic streetscapes. Though new construction in these areas is ideally avoided, redevelopment is sometimes necessary due to modern needs. While not yet a major issue in the U.S., it could become one as the country ages. This led me to research how countries like Spain and Portugal address this challenge, so we as architecture students can learn to design thoughtfully within these contexts. Therefore, while I was on this study abroad trip, I chose to focus on the research question of how have modern buildings been designed to fit within historical urban streetscapes of the most populous cities within the Iberian Peninsula, and what impact do these design decisions have on the street's visual appeal. The first design method that I observed in the Iberian Peninsula was the use of datum lines to ground modern architecture within a historical context. Firstly, datum lines, according to the architect Geoffrey Parker, provide a basis for measurement and alignment and helps to ensure consistency and coherence in the design, meaning datums are crucial for creating a cohesive streetscape where every building contributes to maintaining order and alignment. This principle is evident in the following case studies, where historical building facades are composed of ground-level storefronts paired with upper-level facades. These facades are typically adorned with rows of windows and finished with a cornice, further emphasizing the uniformity and structure within the streetscape. The first study exhibiting the use of datum lines is the Suites Avenue Lux building in Barcelona, Spain. The building features a wavy, second-skin facade that contrasts with the historic stone building on the left and the modern glass building on the right. Despite these differences, it aligns with the historical context by following the same datum lines as the neighboring structures. These include the shared storefront datum line and continuous roof line. Furthermore, while the historic building uses stone to separate the storefront from the upper facade, Suites Avenue Lux uses glass and its wavy design. This alignment maintains balance between historic and modern styles without disrupting the streetscape's visual appeal. Another example of using datum lines is exhibited in Portugal. However, unlike in flat cities where datum lines run consistently across facades, the hilly terrain of Portugal makes that impractical. Instead, the strategy is adapted, creating a rhythm of stepping datum lines that follow the natural slope of the streetscape. This variation of datum lines is shown in streetscapes located in Porto and Lisbon, where modern buildings sit between historical ones on a hilly terrain. Despite their distinct styles, the modern buildings use stair-step datum lines, adapting to the slope, to create a balanced streetscape that harmonizes historic and modern architecture. The second most prevalent method observed in the Iberian Peninsula for integrating modern architecture into historical streetscapes is the implementation of distinctly modern additions onto historical buildings. The first example of this methodology is the Caixa Forum in Madrid, Spain. This building is distinctly divided into 2 parts, the original elevated brick structure with 2 adjacent gables and a modern metal addition placed directly on top. The second example is a building in Porto, Portugal, where a modern glass addition wraps around a pink historic stone building. This approach preserves the building's identity while updating it for modern use. Both examples demonstrate a clear separation between styles, allowing them to complement each other. This approach offers a practical solution for integrating historic and modern architecture, preserving the original character while keeping the space functional. Finally, the last method of integrating modern architecture into historical streetscapes is the use of an external materiality to ground modern architectural styles into the surrounding historic context. The primary example of this design method is a building located near the São Bento railway station in Porto, Portugal. This building features a concrete facade complemented by stonework on the left side. The stone wraps around the corner, merging with the concrete to create a distinct line across the elevation. The building also sets the concrete behind the stonework, allowing the stone to take prominence and seamlessly blending the modern building with its historic neighbors. In conclusion, modern design must be rooted in its urban context to avoid visually dysfunctional streetscapes. While modern architecture doesn't need to imitate historical styles, it can still respond to its context. Through my observations in the Iberian Peninsula, 3 key design methods for integrating modern architecture into historical streetscapes have shown to be effective. First, using datum lines based on historical proportions creates a visual rhythm that grounds modern designs within their context while allowing stylistic freedom. Second, incorporating modern additions into historical buildings is a valuable strategy for preserving and rehabilitating them, especially in densely populated cities where space for outward growth is limited. Finally, the use of external materials that echo those of surrounding historical facades blurs the boundary between old and new, creating a seamless transition. As rapid urbanization continues, it's vital that modern developments respect and enhance the unique character of historical environments, ensuring that modernity complements rather than erases the past. These approaches offer a blueprint for thoughtful, context-sensitive design in an increasingly modern world. This experience was truly life-changing, and the memories I made during this trip abroad will always stay with me. It not only deepened my understanding of design, but broadened my worldly perspective. The insights I gained will significantly shape both my personal outlook on life and my future career aspirations. Thank you.